a movement of evolution, okay? Personal evolution. And every morning, 10 o'clock, what is it, Pacific Standard Time? I do a live 10, 15 minute, sometimes 20-minute lecture on our philosophy, because you want to know who we are, because somebody in your life has heard about us, right? Someone knows about IMC Nation. Someone has seen my TikTok or Instagram or something. I show up everywhere now, right? It's hit that critical mass that if you're going to be on social media at some point, you're going to come across some sort of IMC Nation, okay? And that's a fact. And now it's going to keep accumulating more and more numbers, right? So one of the things I learned in this life, because I had great teachers in this life, and without a teacher, I don't know, I mean, what's a man without a mentor? I'll tell you, it's a boy without a father. How'd that go for everybody? Right? How did it go when the boy didn't have a dad anymore on earth? What happened? What happened to society when the boy grew up without a dad? Tell me what happened to his mom first. What was the condition of the mother, right, whose son didn't have a dad? There. Let's start with the mother. We don't even look at the kid. Right? There was a mother who had a child with a father. They were in love or in lust or on drugs or something. Who knows? They had a kid. They decided to have a kid. Right? At some point, that kid didn't have a dad anymore, not because God took him, but because he left. Right? They couldn't get along anymore. Her and him could no longer resolve their conflicts. Right? And they forgot that there was a brand new person, that they should have had a commitment to resolving their shit before they had the kid. And after they had the kid, they now not only have an obligation, they have a duty, right? They have a duty to that child at least for 18 years, or as long as it takes for the child to be able to leave the house. When he leaves the house, they can fucking do what the fuck they want to do to each other, right? But until the child leaves the house, the young man needs a mentor, someone to tell him what his penis means. How many of our fathers told us about our penis? Not mine, not yours, 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 and not yours. We're batting at 100 right here, just so you know. We have black, Mexican, Afghani, white, African, I think you're Filipino, but you're not, El Salvadorian, fucking all over the place. Okay, check this out. Check this out. From 47 years old, turning 48, to 20-something years old, right? Not one of us had an male adult who cared about us, not some fucking idiot, right? Who actually wanted us to survive, ever sat us down and said, that's your penis, that's what it's for. Right? Not one. Now, that may not seem important to you until you realize that men think with their penis 99.99% of the time. So maybe that might be one of the first conversations. What's that thing for? What do you do with it? Right? You play with that in the middle of the night by yourself? No. You don't do that. Right? That's not what it's for. Do you show it to people? No. Right? That's a private thing. What is it used for? Right? You use it when you love somebody and they love you back. Starting there. Got it? Now that would have really helped all of us out a lot, just so you know, to start with. And everybody's nodding here. But that's just one subject. What about this subject, okay? This is how you deal with a bully. Right? Here's what happens if you're in school and some kid who's bigger, stronger, has more friends, comes around and starts to pick at you and try to make you feel less about yourself for whatever bullshit reasons he has. Here's how you handle it. That would have been good. Okay? How many of our fathers sat us down and said, here's how you make money, because look in my bank account. Not, I'm a failure, let me teach you how to fail like me. Go to college just like me, go get a good paying job just like me, go get a wife just like me, and be miserable just like me. right? How many of them sat us down to say, here's what money is. You don't spend more than you make. This is what an investment is. Here's what an expense is. Here's why you don't want to buy a brand new car. Here's why you don't want to do this. Here's the reason why, all these things. And here is the proof. Your dad, right? They didn't do that. So basically, we're a bunch of little tadpoles swimming in the ocean, and somebody did tell us what to do. And that was the media. It was the music, and it was the movies, and it was the culture that was created by Hollywood. Now, everybody by now should know that Hollywood is a ring of pedophiles. Like, their main activity is child sex. That's their main activity of those people. How do you know that? Because with all the power, all the locations, they can go anywhere in the world. They can eat the finest foods. They can fly in any airplane. Shit, some can go to space probably if they wanted to, right? They could buy any car you ever dreamed of, live in any place. They can take any vacation. Do you know what these fucks do? They go after kids and try to fuck them. That tells you the prime motivation. You see that? That the fact that they absolutely have everything and they're obsessed with our children and having sex with them or eating them. Adrenochrome, look it up. Right? So those people supposedly educated us. They educated us, they miseducated us. The men, right? And now the men are brave and heroes if they admit that they want to have sex with another man. They're called a hero. Wow, that takes a lot of courage to come out of the closet. That takes absolutely no courage to come out of the closet. It takes courage to run into a fire if there's a burning building and a fireman runs in there. That takes courage. It takes courage to turn on your red and blue lights and not know if that car is going to shoot you when you walk up to it. That's a police officer. That takes courage. You get that? It takes courage to get in front of an audience every day and speak your truth and say, this is what it is. Now what? And if I have to go in my bedroom and figure out how I can tell somebody that I'm gay, and I say it and then they celebrate me, what they should do is sit me down and have a real discussion with me and say, where the hell did something go wrong? Because I meet a lot of women that are supposedly lesbians until they meet me. And then they're bisexual. Some of them have become heterosexual through me. And it's a fact. Why? Because God didn't make a mistake. If he did, he got rid of it. And if you don't believe that, just go in the jungle. Right? Nothing mutated that's not supposed to survive survives. Unless the mutation is an adaptation that's better. Then it moves forward. And that's us too. No new idea was embraced by the society at the time that it was presented. Why? Because the society was humming at a certain level and a new idea came. And that new idea, if it didn't make more what's already there and it tried to change it, it was attacked. Some ideas catch on, like TikTok. Why? Because it makes more of a slave out of the slave. So some new ideas, they come and their stock goes way up because everybody's brainwashed, and so let's go. But some ideas, they come and everybody resists it. How much you want to bet if you looked up the beginnings of making a computer that the person was resisted? Okay? How much you want to bet the first time any human being said, we're going to attempt to fly now? That everybody ridiculed them, laughed at them, attacked, and probably tried to kill them. That's the best part. Right? But I understand why God does that. Amor fati. I know why. Let me tell you why. The reason he does that is because if his creation is strong enough, it should be able to withstand the opposition. And if it's not, it should be destroyed so that he could create again and make it stronger. And so he tests his own creation the way you and I would build a bridge and not put people across it first. We have to test it so we could stand under it. That's called understanding. The word comes from building something as an engineer, a roof, and then going and standing under it as proof that this works, and having people go on top of it. That's the word understanding. Look it up. Okay? So, you and I need to gain an understanding of our own bridge from total ignorance, growing up with no man. Right? We just talked about our fathers. My father was around. He's still around. He's still around. But those topics were not talked about. And if the topic of money was talked about, it was talked about from a perspective that I didn't understand. Guess what? That's the adult's job, to be understood. Right? It's not a 7 or 10 or 12 or 15-year-old's boy's job to try to understand the wisdom of a 40 or 50 or 60-year-old. It's his job to find the right symbols, terminology, and ideas, metaphors, to get the idea across, because what he says must be important. He shouldn't be wasting his breath on something. So, yes, I was talked to about money, but I didn't listen to one part of it. And the best thing I ever did with my own money is that I didn't listen to my dad who told me about money. I made the right decision, actually, on that. At a young age, I already knew a secret that everybody knows too, that if you don't have ice cream in your hand, right, then you can't tell me about ice cream right now. I want to see you have it before you tell me about it. That was my thing. So I never listened to anybody who didn't have what I wanted, and I still don't. But when I found any man who had what I wanted, I went and I checked it. I checked it the way I tell everybody here to check me. I went and I sat next to the master, and I sat there for many years. Some 13 years, some 11 years, some years at a time. I sat by the master's foot and paid close attention and watched him. The moment, it's a moment really, the moment that I was convinced in my heart and soul that he had the answer, I knew something really important. That the answer, I can also have it. That there is an answer, right? And that to me meant the whole world, right? So if I grew up getting bullied and beat up through junior high, high school, whatever, and then I did Taekwondo for like 13 years or something, and I became very good, but I still didn't have the confidence to face somebody and fight them, because the way they taught it, right? The way the teacher taught it was never use this. Well, shit, right? And it wasn't just told that, we were drilled that, right? We'd start class with the student creed, and at the end of it, it would say, I plan to use what I learned in class constructively and defensively to help myself and my fellow man, never to be abusive or offensive. There it is, still in here. But the way that we would say it, or they would teach a technique that worked, and then they would have to spend fucking 30 minutes telling us to never use the technique. Well, then why the fuck am I learning this technique now? Right? It's like you could carry a gun in California, but if it's in your car, it has to be in the trunk in a locked container. In case you're at a stoplight and a guy with a gun is shooting people, you're really gonna have to get to that quickly. Right? Hold on. Fuck.
You have to separate the ammo too.
Yeah, no ammo, like, you gotta be like, okay, buddy, drive up, because you got my ammo that can't be in the same car. That became my martial arts, right? I carried these instruments of war locked away, never to be used. And then I saw Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and I saw the UFC, and I saw these guys fight, and I got into the culture. Then I went to Mountain View in San Jose, in the Bay Area. I went to Mountain View, and I studied with Ralph Gracie, one of them. I went to go see for myself. And the first day I showed up, I was a black belt of many years with a lot of training. The very first day, we sparred, which was unusual. You're not supposed to spar for a while when you start a class. No, get in there and fight. And me being a black belt of 13 years, a white belt beat me. I was like, whoa, okay. Switch partners. The next white belt beat me. How are the white belts beating the black belts? What did I waste my fucking life doing? What am I doing? That day when I went back to teach at IMC, I retired my black belt. And I said, I'm not teaching with a black belt until I earn a black belt properly. And my life, my mother's life, and everybody, right? The day I wore my black belt to teach was the day I got my black belt under Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. That was different. I saw people, particularly my teacher, Batata, I saw a little guy destroy, annihilate a gorilla. And they weren't going light, they weren't being social. They got into a fight in the academy. And I saw it. And to me, finally, this equation that's been following me my whole life, get your ass kicked, get your ass kicked, get your ass kicked, get your ass kicked, right? Get so good and so threatening that nobody even threatens to kick your ass. But if you get in a fight, you might get your ass kicked, get your ass kicked. So don't test it, right? I finally saw the answer. Get a black belt in this. Acquire those skills here. And that day, I wrote something to him that he has on his wall still. I told him that I'm only a blue belt right now, but one day I'm going to be a black belt. That right now I'm nobody, but one day the entire world is going to be listening to me. And when that day comes, I'm going to say his name, Sandro Batata, shout out. And the whole world's going to know how and why I learned it. Because I saw a man who had dedicated himself to mastering and continuing to master. When you say mastering, it means being a student. Mastery is also being a student. There's no master who's not a student. That's not a master, right? When the river stops flowing, the water goes stale, come back and watch what happens. You can't drink anymore. I don't want to drink from the water that's not moving. Somehow, he's got to be involved in what he's doing now. He can't go to a job. He's got to be living it every day, right? He can't be like, okay, well, now I got to go teach martial arts. Like the people I gave IMC Academy to in San Jose. It's a job for them, but for me, it was my life that I gave them. Big difference. And for that, they're going to suffer and burn in hell forever. And righteously, for sure. You see that? You can't take from one, I was going to say person, but you can't, okay. You've ever gone to the bank? Go to the bank today and try to take $1 from them. Just $1. I mean, you could go right outside the bank and beg for it and people will give it to you. But go to the bank and steal $1. And tell me what happens. Okay? $1 from the bank. They can afford a fucking dollar. Nah, 50 cents. But it's not yours. Just kind of reach across, right, as she's doing the fucking thing, and just say, I just want 50 cents, and grab it. Just 50 cents. I just want a coffee or whatever the fuck 50 cents gets now, right? Just a piece of gum. Watch what happens. Okay, ready? That's the bank. Now, I want you to try this. I want you to go to God, the one who created the code, and say to him, I'm going to steal a little bit from you right now. When he's granted you everything you need to get everything you want. Now try that. And then ready? Check to see why you're miserable right now in life. They taught you how to steal energy and not how to generate it. We have a process that generates energy. We really do. I'm better every day. Check my lectures. Come back tomorrow. This will be a better lecture tomorrow. I know it. If you had an engine that could, you would. Where there's a will, there's a way. Okay? So we're going to go from here to an all men's class. All right? All the ladies, follow Electra. She's leading you here. That's what you got to do. Stay in communication with her right after this and find out what you're doing next. Okay? All the men, we're going here. If you're not a student, you should be a student. See you in the next class. Be the best. Fuck the rest. I'm seeing.